5 is here, everyone. Another wave, another 8 tracks. So yeah, the tracks that Nintendo has put into Wave 5 is Athens Dash, Daisy Cruiser, Movie Highway, Squeaky King Sprint, Los Angeles Laps, Sunset Wilds, Cooper Cape and Vancouver Velocity. So just like always, we're going to go through each of them and say a little bit about them, and afterwards rank them into a top 8 list, and then afterwards we'll find out which track out of those 8 has won Wave 5. So let's get going with the first track, which is Athens Dash. First up is Athens Dash. This track is pretty epic and very unique as well. This is the first Mario Kart Tour city track that isn't set in an urban area of Athens where the busy streets are. Rather, this track is more focused on more of the ancient side of the Greece and its historical buildings that the Greeks used to build. Well, what's left of them anyway, because they're pretty much just ruins now. I love how in the second lap some of the pillars start to fall down, a bit like Wee Dry Dry Ruins. Also, the music of this track is fantastic and very historic as well. It kind of makes you feel like an ancient Greek warrior or something like that. This is such a great start to Wave 5, but I'm sure there are tracks that are much better than Athens Dash. I am so pleased that GCN Daisy Cruiser is finally back. What a track this is! I love how they are just Goombas just relaxing in the swimming pool, and how the tables and the chairs that slide up and down the dining room now have Shy Guys, Yoshis and Toads just sitting on the chairs having dinner. I just find that so adorable. And the music is so fantastic, as well as the graphics, and the overall relaxing vibe of Daisy Cruiser that the original and the Mario Kart 7 remake is still there. This track made everything great about the original GCN Daisy Cruiser and made it 1,000 times better. This is definitely the best version of GCN Daisy Cruiser. There are some points about this track that I like, and some points of this track that I don't like. So let's start off with the positive. The track is graphically stunning. Nintendo did such a great job capturing the nighttime atmosphere to this track, and it's one of the most visually stunning tracks in the entire game, let alone just the Booster Course Pass DLC. The second point that I absolutely love is the music. The music goes hard in this track. I also love how when you enter into the city area of this track, the music changes to a more jazz-like structure. I'm not super sure if that was there in the original version of this track, but if it wasn't, then that's a great new addition. And then the third part that I like about this track is that Nintendo kept the shortcuts and the bob-on carts. I mean, I just love the bob-on carts. I mean, what a hazard they are. Like, why on earth are bob-on carts even in the road? Let's talk about what I don't like about this track. The cars in this version don't go nearly as fast as they did in the original version, which does ruin the track quite a bit, because the main reason why I really like Moonview Highway, and I said it was my favourite city track that isn't in Mario Kart Tour anyway, is because the cars go really fast and it was such a challenge to try and avoid them. And that's what separated this track from the other city non-Mario Kart Tour tracks, being Toad's Turnpike, Mushroom Bridge, Mushroom City and Shroom Ridge. But Nintendo slowed the cars right down. And also, there isn't nearly as many of them as there was in the original. And I just feel that this track just feels a lot smaller than the original version as well. It doesn't feel as wide, it kind of just feels very narrow. So this track overall is just a mixed bag for me. There's some parts I absolutely loved, and other parts not so much. Where do I even start with this track? I love this track so much, way more than I thought I was. I love the fact that you can drive inside a sink, and a bathtub, and you can even trick off the bath bombs, and you can go down the drain into sewers where you can find a wedding ring. I wonder who dropped that down the bath. You can go back up to the bathroom floor and use the fan to dry you off. Then you can use a gliding jump over the toilet and even trick off the toilet water. This track is so creative, and it's very similar to GBA Ribbon Road, another track that I absolutely love. Well, the Mario Kart 8 remake anyway, not the original. The music is so good and it's so catchy as well. I just love the creativity of this track and the amount of Easter eggs and small details that are crammed into this track. It's going to take me a long time to notice every single Easter egg and reference. I mean, every single time I play on this track, I always, without fail, notice something new about this track, which is absolutely epic, and it's a very strong contender to win Wave 5. What a more than fantastic track this is, Nintendo. Just wish the track had a better name though. Honestly, I never really liked Los Angeles Laps in the original Mario Kart Tour, And I know that this opinion is going to be controversial, but I don't really like this track in this version either. First off, I don't like the music of this track. I just think that this song just doesn't fit a Mario Kart track in my opinion. It just sounds really weird and really unnatural. However, it is better in this version than it is in the original Mario Kart Tour version due to the removed vocals. And for me, that was a good decision from Nintendo because the vocals just made it sound even more weird and unnatural, and honestly, it was quite annoying. It kind of sounded like dogs barking. So I do like the new jazzed up version of the song, but not enough to make me like the song. As for the actual track though, I mean, it's just a standard city track. There isn't really too much to say about it. I guess driving over the baseball field is pretty cool and an oil mine, but it's just not enough for me. Nothing really happens in this track. I would accept this track is better than the Mario Kart Tour version, but not that much better. Next is Sunset Wilds. This was the track that I was most looking forward to in this way because I always wanted a remake of this fantastic track. And we finally have it! The music is just as good as the original GBA version, and I love the new country western feel to it. I also love how the Shy Guys now sing along to the music, just like in Warriors Gold Mine, Shy Guy Falls and Wild Woods. This track is just so fun to drive on and it's so adventurous. I had so much fun racing on this track, and it would have been the perfect remake of Sunset Wilds. If, and only if, the sun set on the final lap. Boy, in the original version, the sun sets on the final lap, and the final lap is at night. In this version, the sun does not do such thing, which is so disappointing, because the sun setting was one of the best things about the original GBA Sunset Wilds, and part the reason why it is my favourite track in Mario Kart Super Circuit. But Nintendo just had to forget to do it, which is so weird and most of all so frustrating, because aside from that, this track is so fantastic and it's a really good remake, but the lack of the sun setting really does spoil it, and it's just more annoying than anything. I'm more annoyed than angry about it. We can only hope that Nintendo fixes it when Wave 6 arrives, like they fixed Coconut Mall when Wave 2 arrives, but only time will tell. It's such a shame because this track is so good and I really want to like it more than I do. But the sun not setting is going to set this track back by quite a bit. Such a shame, Sunset Wilds, such a shame. I am so pleased that Nintendo have fixed this track. As you all know, I really like this track in Mario Kart Wii, but I hate the Mario Kart 7 remake because Nintendo added in a gliding jump that discourages you from driving on the rapid section, which I absolutely loved doing in the original Mario Kart Wii version, and the half-pipe section was ruined. And when Nintendo announced Cooper Cape was going to come back, I was quite nervous that Nintendo was going to basically rip off the Mario Kart 7 version into this remake. But thankfully, Nintendo went back to the Mario Kart Wii's version for this remake. First of all, the gliding jump is gone. Thank you! So I can now appreciate the rapids much more, just like in the original. But the half-pipe section is slightly different. It's now in anti-gravity. And also the electric things, the electric wheels things, I'm not super sure what they're called, but they're gone. Instead, we just have those anti-gravity spinny things, which I find very interesting. I'm not super upset about this, I just find it really interesting because I never thought Nintendo would ever do that. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like it. Not super sure if I like it more than the original, but I do like it, and it's a lot better than whatever was happening in Mario Kart 7, I'll tell you that now. And the track just looks so good as well. Visually and graphically, it just looks so good. For example, the half-pipe section feels so alive with all the fish and aquatic animals swimming underwater. And there's even toads swimming in the water as well. I'm so pleased Nintendo fixed this track. I can now like Cooper Cape again, which is great because this track deserved to be loved. And the Mario Kart 7's version made me not like this track, and it just felt so unnatural for me saying I don't like Wii's Cooper Cape because of what they did in Mario Kart 7, although the original was so good. I kind of felt Mario Kart 7 just insulted Wii Cooper Cape so much. So I'm so pleased Nintendo took that into consideration and fixed the track. So yeah, it's a great version and I can now like Cooper Cape again. And I'm so pleased to say that. So thank you Nintendo for fixing this track. Man, I love this track. I mean, who on earth doesn't love Vancouver Velocity? Like, who doesn't love this track? This track is an absolute blast. I love how some of the bridge is in anti-gravity. You know, I think this might be the first Mario Kart Tour City track to have anti-gravity. I'm not super sure if that's true or not, so correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. This track overall is such a blast to play. It just has a really good atmosphere and the music is so good. This track just has such a really good, feel-good vibe to it. And I love the bit where you drive on an ice hockey rink with all the Shy Guys. Honestly, I think Vancouver Velocity represents Canada so well. The ice hockey, the snow, the monuments, everything about Vancouver Velocity screams Canada, and it's so good. And, you know, aside from that, I don't really think there's anything too much to say about this track. It just speaks for itself. It's a brilliant track and an absolute joy to race on. So, as always, these are all the tracks in Wave 5 listed into our top 8. So last is Los Angeles Laps. I never liked it in Mario Kart Tour. I don't like it now. There's just nothing really to say about Los Angeles Laps. Movie Highway is in 7th because, I don't know, just a mixed bag. 6th is Athens Dash, and then Sunset Wilds in 5th. It's such a shame. I wanted to put Sunset Wilds higher, but the sun not setting, I'm sorry Nintendo, that knocked it back at least 3 spaces. Cooper Cave in 4th, so pleased Nintendo fixed this track, so yeah, so pleased Wii Cooper Cave, it's great again. Vancouver Velocity in 3rd, I mean, it has to be in the top 3 anyway. Daisy Cruiser in 2nd, I mean, what a track Daisy Cruiser is, fantastic, so pleased it's in the Boost Course Pass. Weekly Clean Sprint has won Wave 5 and it deserves to win Wave 5, I mean, what a fantastic track this is. Wow, I can't believe it, we're almost at the end of Wave 5. It's gone by so quickly, talk about time flies when you're busy and having fun. Look at that, we're almost at the end. There's just 8 more tracks left in Wave 6. I think Wave 5 is better than Wave 1, way better than Wave 2, and honestly I think it's better than Wave 4 as well. I don't think it is as good as Wave 3 though. I mean, quite frankly, it will take some wave for it to be better than Wave 3. So I'm going to rate Wave 5 a really impressive 9 out of 10.